Hey, I know this might sting a little, but it's real now. Tyron Smith's era with the Dallas Cowboys is officially over. After 13 seasons wearing the star and anchoring that offensive line, the front office has closed the book on one of the greatest left tackles in franchise history. And trust me, it wasn't an easy call for anyone. Let's be honest here. Tyron's been more than just a player. He's been a symbol of toughness, leadership, and consistency when healthy. But that last part is key. When healthy. The injuries piled up. Year after year, it felt like we were holding our breath just to see if he'd make it to week 1. And while he still had the talent, the durability concerns finally outweighed the upside. The Cowboys made the decision not to bring him back for 2025. That means no one-for-one contract extension, no pay cut to stay on as a mentor. They're moving forward, and that chapter is closed. The writing was on the wall, especially after last season when Tyler Smith started, taking more reps at left tackle. The transition was already in motion. Now I want to hear from you. How do you feel about the team officially moving on from Tyron? Was it the right time, or do you think they should have kept him around at least one more year? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's put a vote out there. Was the Cowboys' decision to part ways with Tyron Smith the right move? Yes or no? And just to put it into perspective, this isn't just any player walking out the door. This is a guy who protected Romo's blindside, blocked for Zeke in his prime, and helped Dak stay upright through the early years. Tyron's legacy is locked in, but now it's about what comes next. And speaking of what comes next, the Cowboys already made a bold move in the draft to fill that gap. Up next, let's talk about the man who's been chosen to carry Tyron's torch. First-round pick Tyler Guyton. Can he really replace a legend? Let's dive into that next. All right, now let's talk about Tyler. Guyton, the rookie tackle the Cowboys drafted in the first round to step into one of the biggest shoes in franchise history. So here's the deal. Tyler Guyton is loaded with upside. He's athletic, long, and moves like a tight end in a tackle's body. The front office and new offensive line coach Mike Solari clearly see him as the future at left tackle. That's right, left tackle, not right. Even though Guyton played on the right side at Oklahoma, the Cowboys believe he's got the traits to flip over and protect Dak's blind side. But let's be real, there's going to be a learning curve. Replacing a legend like Tyron isn't just about talent. It's about adjusting to NFL speed, understanding the scheme, and most of all, earning trust. Dak needs to know he can depend on the rookie when things break down. And you and I both know the NFC East isn't exactly gentle with offensive linemen. Just look at the pass rushers this kid will face twice a year: Sweat, Reddick, Thibodeau, and more. Welcome to the league, Tyler. The good news? Guyton is already turning heads in OTAs with his footwork and technique. He's coachable, motivated, and has all the physical tools. The staff is giving him early looks on the left side, and if all goes well in camp, he's got a clear shot at starting week 1. But what do you think? Should the Cowboys throw Tyler Guyton straight into the fire at left tackle or ease him in on the right side first? Type your vote in the comments. LT for left tackle, RT for right tackle. Personally, I'm excited about Guyton, but cautious. If he hits, this could be one of the best draft picks Dallas has made in years. But if he struggles, it could derail a big chunk of the season. That's the kind of gamble the front office was willing to take, because they didn't just draft a player, they drafted a potential pillar. And speaking of pillars, let's talk about the rest of this offensive line. There's a new look forming in Dallas, and not everyone's spot is secure. Up next, we'll break down the shakeup and who's really battling for a starting job. All right, now that we've zeroed in on Tyler Guyton, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. Because this offensive line is going through a serious makeover. Gone are the days of the old Great Wall of Dallas 2.0. Tyron Smith is in New York. Connor Williams and Lael Collins, long gone. Now we're looking at a mix of youth, upside, and question marks. So who's locked in? Zach Martin, Period. End of story. The man's a future Hall of Famer and still playing at an elite level. As long as he's healthy, that right guard spot is his. Next to him at right tackle is Terrence Steele, who's coming off a rough 2023, but is still very much in the team's plans. Dallas gave him a big extension for a reason. They believe he'll bounce back now that he's fully recovered. At center, it's a battle. Brock Hoffman held it down last year, but don't sleep on Cooper Beebe, the rookie out of Kansas State. He played mostly guard in college, but the Cowboys have been testing him at center in OTAs. Beebe's got that nasty streak coaches love, and his versatility might be his ticket onto the field. Then there's Tyler Smith, who might be the most important piece of this entire line. He was solid at left guard last year, but with Tyron gone, there's a chance they could kick him back outside to tackle, unless Guyton seizes that job. For now, though, the plan seems to be keeping Tyler Smith at guard and letting the rookie take over on the edge. So here's the current projection. LT, Tyler Guyton, rookie. LG, Tyler Smith. C, Brock Hoffman or Cooper Beebe. RG, Zach Martin. RT, Terrence Steele. But don't pencil that in too hard, because this training camp is going to be a dogfight. I want to hear from you. Which position on the O-line worries you the most heading into the season? Comment below. Center, left tackle or right tackle? The Cowboys know everything starts up front. If this group gels early, they'll have the foundation to compete with anybody. But if the protection breaks down, you already know it's a long, frustrating season ahead. And coming up next, let's shift from the trenches to the play caller. Because everything we've talked about, none of it matters if Brian Schottenheimer can't get this offense firing. So here's the deal. Offensive line changes, wide receiver drama, running back questions. They all mean one thing. Brian Schottenheimer is on the hot seat. Last year, even though Mike McCarthy took over the play calling, Schottenheimer still had a massive influence on the game planning and overall design. Now, in year 2 of this setup, there are no more excuses. He knows the players, the personnel fits his style, and he's got a full off-season to install his system. And what is that system exactly? Balanced, conservative, physical. Schotty wants to run the ball, control the clock, and hit big shots off play action. But let me ask you this. Does that even fit the current Cowboys roster? With Tony Pollard gone and no clear RB1 in place, the run game is already on shaky ground. So are we really expecting to lean on guys like Rico Dowdle and Royce Freeman to carry this offense? That's where the pressure builds. If Schottenheimer doesn't find a way to create rhythm and consistency with this group, it's going to get ugly fast. And the fan base? You know how this goes. We've seen explosive offenses in Dallas before. If this one sputters like it did down the stretch in 2023, the calls for change will be loud. That's why this season could define his entire coaching legacy. And here's a question for you. Do you trust Brian Schottenheimer to build a top 10 offense with this roster? Vote yes or no in the comments. And if you've got concerns, break it down. Is it his scheme, his play-calling history, or the lack of talent at key spots? Because remember, Dak Prescott is in a contract year. CeeDee Lamb still hasn't signed an extension. Everything hinges on this offense. Clicking. Not in November, not in December, but week 1. Coming up next, we're going to shift to something that could either break the Cowboys or turn them into a legit contender. The wide receiver room. CeeDee is a star, sure. But what's going on behind him is where things get real tricky. Let's wrap this up by talking about what might be the most concerning position group on the entire roster right now. The wide receivers. Yes, CeeDee Lamb is a superstar. That's not up for debate. He just had a career year and is right there with guys like Jefferson, Hill, and Chase. But what happens if, let's say, he gets double-teamed constantly? Or worse, he misses time for any reason. What's behind him? That's where things get shaky. Brandon Cooks is still fast, still savvy, and still productive when used right. But he's 30, and the Cowboys haven't exactly made him a focal point in this offense. Then there's Jalen Tolbert. He's flashed in camp and in preseason, And he did have some nice moments in 2023. But is he ready to be a consistent WR3 or even WR2 if needed? And after that, you've got guys like Cavante Turpin, who's electric but more of a gadget guy. Then it's rookies and long shots, Ryan Flournoy, maybe a practice squad stash, and Jalen Brooks, who's fighting for a role. It's thin, real thin. There were rumors earlier this offseason about trades. Names like DJ Moore, George Pickens, and even Amari Cooper were floated around. But nothing happened. So unless Jerry has something big, cooking behind the scenes, this is the group they're going into the season with. So now I'm asking you, should the Cowboys trade for a wide receiver before the season starts? Drop a yes if you think Lamb needs more help, or no if you believe in Cooks, Tolbert, and the young guns. Because here's the truth. The NFC isn't forgiving. Philly is stacked. Detroit is rising. San Francisco, still loaded. If you want to compete at the top, you need more than just a WR1. You need a full arsenal. And right now, the Cowboys' wide receiver room feels like a high-wire act with no net.